Hey guys, Brian with VetSource checking in on Sunday night, weekend before 4th of July. Thought I'd check back in this evening and give you guys a little more detailed description of our tune port injection system that I detailed in the last video that I put up a few weeks ago. Tonight what I'm going to do real quick is kind of do a walk around of the features and show you a little bit about what makes this thing tick and some of the things that are on it. And then what I thought I'd do, since I have this unit that is actually free and loose from an engine, I'd go ahead and tear it down, do a quick field strip of it so you can see how it comes apart and what's involved in taking this apart. Some of the things you might want to watch out for if you're going to start delving into this. So again, like I told you before, this tune port injection system is the injection system that'll be on the Formula 350 car that we've had. That I've got the video link above my head of that car in description and where we got that from. That's a shot dog there, so he doesn't really pertain to the discussion, but he's here anyway helping me out. So anyway, this would be the tune port injection system offered from General Motors from 1985 until 1992, exclusively on the F-bodies, which would be the Camaros and Firebirds, Trans Ams, and the Corvettes. These are not installed on any other car from the factory except those two model lines and 3 different cars. So what I'm going to do real quick is kind of walk around. I'll start over here on this corner so you can see what we're working with. What we've got here is our, of course, this is your hook to your accelerator cable inside the car. Of course, when you pull the cable, this comes forward. And you can see here, this is your air inlet or air intake. And these butterfly valves are going to open up and allow the air to come into the motor. In front of here is going to be your snorkel where it would go to your air cleaner and such. So that's what basically this is your spring-loaded accelerator lever right here that runs at. This hose is a throttle bypass hose that goes in and provides coolant to the throttle body when it's a cold start to make it heat up a little bit faster so it's not so much of a cold air charge. Down here in the southern states, we don't really need that very much. Let me turn this a little bit over to the side. The 2 main units, electrical units, that this thing uses to calculate fuel and air trim are this unit here. This would be a throttle position sensor held in with 2 bolts right here. This is actually bolted to the throttle body, and you can see when I move the accelerator lever how that moves, and that changes the resistance value inside that not IC, but the throttle position sensor, and tells the computer how much air is coming in so it can actually make the adjustments on the fly for how much fuel needs to be given to the motor. This one underneath here would be your idle air control motor, which determines a stepper motor that opens and closes the air bypass, which is right inside there, that allows idle air to come in at idle. So, kind of repetitive there, sorry. So, when you're sitting at a stoplight and full closed, right, on your throttle, you're not hitting the gas, this is going to let air in here through that little port right there and let the car keep running without stopping. Okay, so what you can see here, you can immediately identify this as a F-body unit because the fuel lines are coming in from the driver's side. Corvette fuel lines will come in from the passenger side. That's always a big giveaway. Now, the reason you should know that is because on the Corvettes, they only had 350s in them. The Camaros and Firebirds could have come with a TPI with a 305. So that's one thing you want to know. Even though the part number is the same on a lot of the things, the injectors are smaller on a 305 or tune port injection, so you want to make sure of that when you're buying one. So, or the injectors for one. They're 19 pound per hour injectors on the 305. They are 22 pound per hour injectors on the 350. So as you can see there are the fuel injectors right there. There's 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. To the other side, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here is our fuel rail. You can kind of see the fuel line goes up into that section right there, into the fuel pressure regulator on the back, sorry about that, and then feeds to the other side. So these are these aluminum pieces are your main fuel rails. This here is a EGR EGR switch right here that decides when it's going to turn the EGR on and off. Or no, I take that back. That might be the intake air temperature switch. My bad, sorry. So you can kind of see though here while this unit is off and on the shelf here, if I can get my camera angle right. Okay, so we talked about air is coming in from this port here once you're opening your throttle, right? Air's traveling through here. It comes back to here, down these tubes, down all the way into the lower intake, across to the other side to where the fuel injector is, right? And if I pick this up, you'll be able to see that here is your intake port right here, and there is your fuel injector right there. So as the air charge is coming through into the motor, the fuel injector is spraying an atomized squirt of fuel in there in relation to how much air is coming through there, so the car actually will keep very responsive. Now, this was a big deal when it came out because up to that point, all the cars were using was a throttle body, which is kind of a half-assed carburetor, if you will. And this was the first, tuned port kind of a fuel injection system that was pretty revolutionary. Now, by today's standards, this thing has a processing power, the computer of like a Commodore 64, if anybody's old enough to remember those. So it was kind of it is actually a very simple system to work on now. And there was a huge jump in horsepower. We went from cars that were having 180 to 185 horsepower to 230, 235, 240. By the time they finished, I think they'd already managed to get up to about 245 horsepower on these cars with this now. And that was kind of deceptive because, like I said, lower end, these cars are really, really stout with this setup on them with a 350. And if you modify them a bit, you can actually get a car that you're running 12-second quarter miles. Now, of course, that's not as fast as some of the new cars now, but 12 seconds in the quarter mile is enough to still get you in trouble. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to separate this, and I'm going to show you, truthfully, there's really not much that this takes, okay? I got a screwdriver. I've got a 10 millimeter here. I've got a T40. That's very important. I'll tell you why in a second. A little pair of pliers just to pull some loose lines if I need to, and the 10 millimeter wrench in case I need it. So the reason why this T40 is very important is I'm going to show you right here. The one weakness on this manifold is, if you can see right here, see that T40 head on that bolt? That thing is extremely wallowed out, okay? This one even worse, all right? See if it'll focus in on there for me. This one as well. You see it just tore it up completely. Now what happens is these are dissimilar metals, right? You've got steel bolt with an aluminum assembly, right? And over the years, these things have just corroded. Now, a lot of these came out in pretty good, easy shape, but you can see the corrosion on those threads. So this is something that you have to be careful of when you're taking them apart, because in this case, I've got two bolts, one here and I got one here, that will not come out of this intake. Now, I'm going to go and show you the rest of it dismantled and how easy it is. But before you get into it, make sure you have the exact correct T40. Make sure you've got some anti-seize or lube to make it a little less likely to seize on you. And if you all else fails, get you a nice Burns-O-Matic and heat everything up before you get to it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and quit talking, and let me just go ahead and start tearing down here real quick. I'm going to try to do this in one take because I know you guys might not like me having to come back all the time just because I'm running these videos a little amateurish. But first things first, we're going to go and get our 10 millimeter, get our throttle body off. Now, there's 4 bolts in this. I've only got 3 in it right now. Now, just so you understand, I have pre-dismantled this for my comfort so that you don't have to sit watching me for 45 minutes cussing and screaming to get everything loose, okay? So this is just a method to show you guys what bolts are going where. So there's our intake, or our throttle body bolts. As you can see, there's that lower housing that has the idle air control motor built into it, throttle position sensor, and that's what the back side of that looks like with a gasket in between there. There's also another vacuum port right here that actually draws in vacuum. That works the cruise control system and sometimes the HVAC system on some of the cars is a primary mode for those. Okay, so let me get in. Next thing we're going to go ahead and take off will be our center plenum. Okay, so for that we're going to need our T40, trusty T40 right there. Get that on here, and I'm going to go ahead and get these out of here. There's 4 on the top end. I got that first one out already. 4 per side, so you got 8 bolts total that you're getting out of the top part there. Those are going to come right out. Turn this around. And over here we've got the same mirror image of 4 bolts, 4 T40 hex heads, okay? Now they call them security bolts. I basically just call them a pain in the butt as they've gotten older. But they do look good when the intake's installed, as long as they're not all chewed up. All right, we got that one, and we got that one. Okay, so that's it for the center intake, center plenum. So let me show you how easily this just comes out. So you're gonna just go straight up and straight out with that once you get to that point. Now, one other thing I did forget, these are your vacuum hoses that control your fuel pressure regulator, and this controls your EGR valve, okay? So you're gonna wanna take those out real quick. Those are out, and that is done. Okay. Now, real quick, we're gonna get the runners off. Okay, runner bolts are out. There are 6 of those bolts on the lower runners, so we'll take those out. And you're going to pull up and out to angle that out of there, so that comes out. Next will be your fuel rail. Actually, your EGR valve will come out, and I pre-loosened those. Those are the only thing that are odd. They take a 3/8 bolt, 6 hex head. So these are almost impossible to get out while the upper intake is on there. So that's why even if you're trying to get in and get to the EGR, you're going to want to take these out, okay? Just to get them out of there. So let me get this last one out if it will cooperate with me. It's almost there. Okay, famous last words. There we go. All right, so there's your EGR valve. It controls your exhaust gas recirculation. All right, now let's get our 10 millimeter back on here. 4 10 millimeter bolts will hold your fuel rail on. You can see the fuel rail in a lot better detail this way too. That one's out. That one's out. That one's out. And this one's a little bit too tight to get into. So I've got that pre-loosened. I'm going to get that one out of there right now, okay? Okay, that one's out. That one's out. That one's out. And that one's out. One other retaining bolt here at the front that needs to come out, so the rail will come out of here. Okay, and then basically what you can do is pull that fuel rail straight up and over. So I can get this one-handed while I'm talking to you guys and holding the camera. And we're almost there. Hang on. There we go. And the fuel rail comes out. And there you go. There's your fuel rail. Actually kind of an interesting looking little piece there. All right, so there's our fuel rail. We'll set that down here for now. And there's our lower intake, what we were looking for. Now, like I had told you, this intake, or this runner side, not going to come off just yet because I've got a couple more bolts that are seized up that I've got to get out of there. So that, in less than 15 minutes, gentlemen, is basically the teardown of a tuned port injection manifold and all the pieces that come with it. So, hopefully you enjoyed this and can see a little bit better if you're going to be working with one of these, what it takes and how it's done. Like I said, if you're going to try this, use a little patience. Don't go fast on it. It'll make it a lot better for you. And that way you'll be able to keep the system up and running without too much trouble. So if you like the video, make sure you hit that like button for me. I get a little bit of acknowledgement from YouTube for that, obviously. And then if you'd like to see some more videos, let me know. Make a few comments. You know, subscribe to the channel. I'll try to keep uploading these mixed in with some of the parts videos I make for some of the parts I sell. So again, I want to thank everybody for checking in, and I'll get back with you guys next time. Thanks.